everyone, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, I'm Maryann. I am a homeschooling mom of 2 kids, ages 11 and 6, and today I'm going to be sharing all about the 5 mistakes that I have made in our homeschool journey that I wish I could go back in time and do differently. Now, I'm well aware that we learn from our mistakes and they are partially what makes us who we are and gets us to where we're going. So I suppose in one way, if I hadn't made these mistakes, I wouldn't be where I am today. But if I could turn the clock back, if, I could have the wisdom then that I have now, I definitely would have done some things differently. And I'm going to share those with you today. And this is me being really honest, really humble. And also, these are my mistakes. So I'm not sitting here saying that these things are just wrong all across the board. If you're doing one of the things that I mentioned and you're thinking, oh, well, that actually works really well for us when we do it, great. Keep doing it then. Don't stop. This is just me saying that for us, it didn't work. And I had to learn the hard way with some of these things. But if it's working for you, then keep doing it. Don't listen to me. This is just my experience, the things that I've done that I would definitely go back and change. Okay, so number 1, the first thing that I did wrong actually is something I did wrong right from the get-go. And I think it's probably a very common mistake that new homeschoolers make. Actually, I'm going to put a link down below in the description box. I did a video all about some of the most common homeschool struggles that people who are homeschooling deal with, but don't necessarily want to talk about. So I did a whole video on that, and I touched on what I'm about to say a little bit in that video, but you can go back and watch that. I will put that link in the description down below. But mistake number 1 that I regret is spending way too much money on curriculum. Like way too much money. The first year that we homeschooled, I bought all brand new curriculum. I bought the printed hard copy of everything. I didn't print anything out myself. I bought language arts units and math units and science units and just everything. And I had never homeschooled before. And so I did not know that there was a possibility that maybe what I was buying wouldn't work for us. I just thought, here's some great curriculum. I'm going to buy it all and I'm going to homeschool. Well, wasn't I surprised when my daughter was in tears and we weren't getting stuff done. And here I was out all this money. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of it was good and some of it we stuck with, but there was also a lot that we didn't. And since then, I have learned to look for curriculum a little bit differently. There's a lot of great curriculum companies that offer free downloads, so you can download their curriculum for free and then print it out yourself, which there is still the cost of paper and ink, but it's significantly less than buying the full printed version of every single curriculum. Plus, the good thing about printing it out yourself is you can just start by printing out a few lessons to see if you like it. You don't have to print out the entire thing. So you've downloaded it for free. Print out maybe the first 5 or 10 lessons, if that. Try it out with your kids, see how it's going, and if you really like it, print the rest of it out. If you don't, you really haven't lost that much. So that is my tactic now. It's kind of like try before you buy, because if I really like the curriculum, then I'm more apt to actually buy some of their things that they don't offer as free downloads, because I'll feel a little bit more confident in my choice at that point. But in the video about homeschool struggles, I was talking about the curriculum trap and how so often we can view curriculum as the savior for all things homeschool related, right? All of our homeschool problems, when it really isn't. And you can get into this trap of spending all kinds of money on curriculum and then having a whole whack of curriculum that doesn't work for you, you're not using, and you spent so much money on. So I will link that in the description. It's a really good video, a very vulnerable video, I would say. I kind of just bare all in that video about the struggles that we've gone through as a family. So anyways, I do talk a little bit more about this there. I will link that down below. You can check it out. Okay, mistake number 2 that I have made in our homeschool is trying too hard to multitask during our homeschool time. And so what I mean by that is I'm a very productive person. I like to get all sorts of things done. However, I was multitasking a lot of my homemaking responsibilities like vacuuming and laundry and all the things while I was homeschooling because I thought, well, we're home, we're homeschooling, so I can kind of just kill 2 birds with 1 stone and I can get everything done while they're doing their schoolwork. Sometimes that's okay. Sometimes that works for me. And sometimes it works for my kids. But I have discovered, again, this is our life, my mistakes. I have discovered that if I'm all over the place with my mind, I'm really not fully available to my kids, and they pick up on that. So if I'm running around the house, picking things up, cleaning, doing all these things, and then coming back to the table with them for, say, 10, 15 minutes, and then I'm up again, they're not going to be as focused because I'm not as focused. So I learned the hard way that just does not work for us. My children need me to be attentive and present when they're doing their schoolwork. They're still young. Now my daughter's 11. She's just now getting to that point of real independence with her schoolwork. I do obviously still help her with some things, but I'm more of a facilitator now with her. I answer her questions. I don't have to guide her through her lessons as much now as I did then. But my son, well, he's 6. So I have to sit with him the whole time. I have to read things to him. I have to help him. And if I'm not fully there, then their focus starts to dwindle. Their interest starts to shift into something else. And then I end up feeling frustrated because they're not getting their schoolwork done, but really it's kind of my fault. So that has not worked well for me. I have learned over the years to set aside our homeschool time. We do our school in the morning. I will do a few house-related chores before we start our school time. Then we have our school time where I don't do anything unless it's, the odd day. And if there's something going on and it's conducive to that, I might, flip a load of laundry. But I'm not doing a ton of stuff. So I have my set school time. And then after we're done our school is when I can tackle our other things, my other things around the house that I have to do. I leave school time alone. I leave it for school. And my kids have responded so much better to that. If I had only done that before. Hindsight, right? All right, mistake number 3. Now this one might, I don't know, it might be a little controversial, but hear me out. Mistake number 3 in our homeschool journey is sending my son to preschool. So let me explain. I'm not against preschool. However, for our family at the time that he did preschool, looking back, I think it was the wrong thing. I don't think that it was right for him or best for us as a homeschool family in general. When my daughter went to preschool, but we didn't homeschool my daughter until she was in grade 2. So homeschooling wasn't really on our radar at that point. But when my son went to preschool, I was already homeschooling my daughter. And I was still sort of convinced that, well, this is best for him. He'll learn some social skills and he'll make some friends and he'll kind of learn how to focus and and again, I'm not knocking preschool. I think that for some kids it's great. For my son, it was not. And I felt like the year that we sent him to preschool, it really broke us up as a homeschool family because we were now tied to the preschool schedule and we had to get him there in the morning. Then I would come home and homeschool our daughter. And then he wasn't home with us. Then we have to go back and get him, bring him home. Not to mention, it was really hard on him. He cried a lot going to preschool. He had a really hard time with separation from us. I mean, he was 4. He was 4 years old. And that's really young. When we think about it, we think, oh, well, they have to learn to be away from their parents. Well, To be honest, now that I'm a homeschooler, I actually don't agree with that opinion. I don't agree that 4-year-olds have to be perfectly okay with being separated from their parents. I don't think that that has to be the case. If it is, if some 4-year-olds are okay with that, then fine. But it certainly does not have to be the case. And there is nothing wrong with a 4-year-old child wanting to be with his or her parents. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I believe that that is healthy. And so we kind of forced our son into this, and he did not enjoy it. I mean, he had a couple friends there that he liked. He did not need preschool for social skills. He's around people all the time. He's the most talkative, social little guy you could ever meet. He didn't need it for that. And it was just more traumatic than anything. So again, hindsight is 2020. If I could go back, I would not have sent him, and I would have started incorporating him into our homeschool a lot sooner than we did. But again, you live and you learn. But for us, that was definitely not the right decision. So if you are considering right now sending one of your younger kids out of the home, it might be right for you. It might be right for your kid, but it also might not be. So don't listen to, a bunch of outside voices saying that, oh, well, this is good for them and this is going to be beneficial, because sure, it might be, but it also might not be. So you know your child the best, you know your family the best, your family dynamic. Do what's right for your family. Don't just do something because it's the thing to do, which is kind of what we did. Okay, we're almost done. We're at number 4 now. The 4th mistake that I have made in our homeschool is that when we first started homeschooling, that very first year, I wrote down this awesome schedule. I mean, this schedule was like top notch. I am an organized person and I can make me a good schedule. So I had this all planned. I had it written down. I had a really nice pen that I wrote the schedule down in. Really nice piece of paper. I had it all organized. From 9 to 9:30, we were going to do language arts. And from 9:30 to 10, we were going to do math. And then from 10 to 10:15, we were going to have a break, and so on and so forth. Do you want to know how long that lasted? Until about 9:30 on the first day of homeschool. I kid you not, it just fell apart because kids don't really care if it's 9:30 or if it's 9:35 or if it's 9:40. They don't care. And when they're home doing their work at home, and if they're enjoying what they're doing, they don't want to stop at 9:30. And if they're absolutely hating it and you're hating it as the parent, you don't want to keep going until the schedule tells you to stop. Having a schedule like that for us was a complete flop. And now that I've been homeschooling for a few years, I can totally see why. Just knowing the learning styles of my kids, my own teaching style, I can totally see why that didn't work. But again, starting out, I really had no idea. So yeah, that is definitely a mistake. And thankfully, we have fully recovered from that first traumatic day of a failed schedule. I still have some really nice pens that I like to use. However, not to write a hardcore schedule. So the very last mistake I'm going to talk about today, number 5, is thinking that we had to cover every single aspect of the curriculum that we were using. Every lesson had to be done, every activity in the lesson, every experiment, everything had to be done. Thinking that was a mistake, and I ended up forcing my kids to do things that they either really didn't like or just served absolutely no purpose and were a complete waste of time. Curriculum is supposed to work for us. We are not supposed to work for the curriculum. And I know that's a very cliche expression in the homeschooling world, but it really does ring true. When you're a homeschool family, the curriculum is there to help you and to help guide you along. And, as the mom, if you need a little bit of help learning how to teach something, curriculum is fantastic for that. But it is a guide. It is not the Bible. You do not need to do every single thing that is in that curriculum book. Even in public school, they do not cover every single thing in the curriculum in a year. There are things that they skip. There's things that they don't have time for. It is no different in homeschool. So if you are new to this and you have a curriculum in front of you, and if you get to a lesson and you're looking at it thinking, you know what, I think my kid already knows this. I don't really need to spend time on this today. Or maybe you're looking at it saying, honestly, this is boring to us. This is a waste of time. Or I don't have time, or I don't have the materials to do this experiment. Skip it. It's okay. You do not have to do it all. You really don't. Your kids will learn everything that they need to learn. I promise you they will be okay. So don't feel like a slave to your curriculum. Do what works for you. Do the things that are working for your kids and leave the rest. It is okay to do that. All right, before we go, I'm actually going to give you a bonus mistake. A bonus mistake. That's kind of like an oxymoron, I think. I'm going to give you a bonus mistake, an extra little thing that I did in my first few years of homeschooling that now I regret. But again, hey, here we are. I have been known to get way too uptight with my kids during school time and get really hyper fixated on checking things off the list and making sure that we get everything done before lunch or by a certain amount of time. And I've been guilty of getting way too uptight and just forgetting to have fun. Just totally forgetting. I've even gotten angry with my kids or gotten impatient with them when they're laughing and having fun with each other while they're doing their schoolwork, because to me it feels like they're not focusing. And I really regret that. I think back and I think, why was I so concerned with fun? I don't understand. I think I translated in my mind, I translated the laughing and the fun into like not paying attention. I don't view it like that now. And there are moments where I definitely still, have to catch myself. I can get kind of uptight and kind of like control freakish over like how they're doing certain things. But I've come a long way in this, and I'm really thankful that with this one, I have to say, I'm thankful I made these mistakes because I have learned. But looking back, I really regret those moments where I got impatient with them or even got upset with them because they're just having fun. They're just kids and they're having fun. You need to have fun in your homeschool. You need to allow your children to run around and laugh and play. That is a good thing. They are not robots. And the whole reason why you're homeschooling, I hope, is because you don't want them to be stuck at a desk all day. You don't want them to do the typical public school routine. So don't force that upon them in your homeschool. Just let them have fun. They will learn. And there is a time and a place for sitting down and doing bookwork. Of course there is. And my kids know that and they do it. But if they're working on something and they start laughing at an inside joke between them, and next thing I know, they're up from the table and they take 5 minutes and they're playing or they're doing something, I have learned to just let it be. They're coming back. They love each other and they love being home and they love being homeschooled. And that freedom is what this is all about. So don't be so uptight. Let your kids have fun with them. It'll all get done. They'll learn it all. It's okay. So that's it. Those are the 5 mistakes that I have made in my homeschooling that I do regret, but I'm also thankful that I've learned from them and I can, go, what do they say? Go forth and prosper. Is that it? Go forth and I don't know. I can do that. So thank you for being here with me today. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, click subscribe. It really helps my channel out, and click the bell and the notifications or whatever all that stuff is. Just do it, please, if you like this kind of stuff. Homeschooling, homemaking content is what we're all about here. And my goal here in all my videos is just to encourage you as the homeschool mom, share my own experiences, and just remind you that you're not alone and that we're all doing this thing. We're all doing it together. So please click subscribe and I will see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye.